piece of commentary, and you bloggers are doing a lot of commenting, a piece of commentary should be at least as well reported as a piece of reporting. And only then will the commentary be worth a damn to anybody. The Critograph does not have an editorial page editor, does it? Okay, that's the first structural change I think you should make. You need an editorial page editor, and I think it should be you. because you're already used to doing it, and you already know the value of opinion. Opinion is good, and the blog stuff I know is fun to a lot of people, and I think it's mostly harmless. But it really, if you are simply, it's a way of looking in the mirror, though. There's something very lazy about blogging, can be. Some people had sent me some stuff to look at of their own writing, and they included some of their blog entries, and they included them under the word publication. And I said, this isn't published, this is posted. Well, what's the difference? I said, well, when I send something to the Washington Post, it doesn't get posted. It goes through editors. It goes through it goes through Denny, my first editor, and then it's probably going to go through one of his editors. And then it's going to go through the fact checker, the fellow in the black shirt's the fact checker, good fella. It's going to go through the fact checker, and then it's going to go through a copy editor. And then it comes back to me to fix. So I'll have, in brackets, little question marks by dates and so forth. And sometimes these people on these really good papers can be awfully smart. I did one a few months ago, Noreen knows about this, where I was reviewing a book about Thucydides, the Greek historian, and I had talked about the Battle of Amphipolis. I'm a classics guy, so this should be my thing, and I said the Battle of Amphipolis of 422 BC. This non-classicist copy editor said, wasn't that 422? I said, oh, surely not. But I went and looked it up. Oh, no, you're right. Well, see what I'm saying. I knew
it was 422.
Well, I know you did. And I haven't been able to forget.
You should have done it through me first.
I know. But you see what I'm saying? The difference between publishing and posting. Posting is lazy. It can be, at least. Even if it's good. And I'm assuming that there are a lot of blog entries that are quite nice and interesting and worth rereading. But most of them are not. So when I want to use the word publication, I usually want that to mean work that has been vetted, that has gone through other people. Noreen will talk about this more in a minute, but when one of her reporters comes in with a piece, or a script of a piece, it doesn't go straight onto the air. That's posting. Mm-hmm. It has to go through people, and she's one of the gatekeepers. That's what makes it more legitimate. Doesn't mean that there won't be any mistakes in it, because this is a deadline business, as we all know. Sometimes you can't get everything right in print or otherwise, but you have to make the effort. And this is why you don't want to have the reputation on campus as being the people who blog in print. You want to be the people who are journalists, people who, when you're reporting, you're following the canons of good reporting, such as you're teaching, I'm sure, in that course. And that you folks, as editors, are going to be holding these other people to account as they're coming up behind you, which you want to do because they're going to be in your position next year. Because as I said, when I first sat down, I realized that most of these people are seniors. And that's trouble. That means I'm seeing a good year coming for the Critograph with this group, and I'm seeing a real challenge next year if you don't fill the vacuum as you're doing your job, because it becomes, as I remember as a student editor, it becomes very tempting just to do your job and get it done and make it look good. But you have a teaching responsibility too. You have to bring people up behind you. And So when you are doing some of your things, you want to invite people to help you. You know, some people might not know how to look up a fact. You know, you need to be showing people how to do that, or your editor-in-chief needs to be feeding people in. I would say the thing, first of all, if I were coming on and advising you what to do immediately, I would say have an editorial page with an editorial page editor, and be trying to, now that will have letters to the editor on it.
Mm-hmm.
But remember, I mean, eventually you'll get them if the paper's good. Believe me, it'll happen. Up in Michigan, they got more letters than they know what to do with sometimes.
We get those. We just, nobody ever responds to them. I mean, we'll print the letter to the editor, and it just stops.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
When
that
you mean
happens.
nobody responds, you mean no other person reads it and then
Yeah.
puts a response?
There's-
There's
yeah.
no discussion
There's
after.
no, it's a diatribe. It's not a dialogue at all.
How do you draw the difference between a guest commentary, say, and a letter to the editor? In other words, whether the piece is going to be above or below the person's name. Is it just simply length?
It's via what this person has stated it is. I don't think that we've ever had guest commentary, because they'll write in, this is a letter to the editor.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's something that we should definitely consider changing.
Well,
How we
true.
look at- how
I mean,
we look
letters
at
to the
page.
editor are usually responsive.
And that's what they're doing, responding
okay.
to one of our articles about
That's
how
fine.
mad they are. That we
That
printed
happens.
it. Yeah, that's what they write in about. is
You do edit
disappointment.
letters to the editor, don't you?
Yes.
I mean, you don't simply run them
Right.
as written, because you should never do that.
They-
And people should never think that your paper can become their bulletin board, ever. I mean, if you think there's a criticism or a phrase or an expression that's a little bit out of bounds, you can take it out. And if someone comes crying back to you, you censored me. I didn't censor you. I made you sound better. You know, and you just put it that way. But you don't. I find that the worst editorial pages are the ones where people simply run whatever is sent in, and you can't do that. You have to. You don't edit in the same way that you edit a piece of reporting, but you do edit it. You edit it for flow. You edit it for fact. So the fact checker, you've got to look at a commentary. It's got to go through your hands at some point, and it can be something benign, but often people with chips on their shoulders have ways of slanting information. So when you have a commentary, you have to be even more on your toes with the facts than a simple bit of reporting about a fire somewhere, where there aren't perhaps as many motivations for trying to for trying to change what the news is. So you do need that, and that also feeds the campus presence. You get that sense too? Everyone understand what I'm saying? It makes the paper more present to people when you have an active editorial page. It's going to be hard for you to do for the first few weeks because you're just getting back on your feet. People are interested in doing other things and they're busy. I don't go out of your way to be controversial, but don't be afraid to tackle something that is controversial, whether on campus or off. Now you can, and I hope you feel the freedom to talk about things off campus as well. I mean, if you want to write an editorial slamming Governor McDonnell over something, go ahead. I think that's fine. Just get your facts right.
Mm-hmm.
Just make sure you're not taking cheap shots at the governor of the Commonwealth. I think everyone knows that news in advance. They attack him all the time. But I'm sure they're trying to get the facts right. They may not always. They're trying, though. And those things do go through several people.
When we have a campus